All right, boys and girls, we are going to be making donuts inspired by our artists, Peter Anton and Wayne Thibault. So you're going to be working with Model Magic. Each student should have 2 packages of white. So we're going to open them up by cutting the tops off. And then if we flip it over, we can kind of peel it out. And it should come out looking kind of like a soap bar. So I'm going to have my 2 pieces. And what I want to do is take one and I'm going to cut a section off. If you look at my thumb, I'm going to go about as wide as my thumb. I can make a little print so I know where it is. And that's the amount I want to cut off. And this is going to be used for making our details to add to our donut later. So I'm going to set that one aside. Now, to add color to our donuts, we're going to work with markers. So you need to decide, do you want a regular good old donut? If so, color it with brown. Do you want yours to be bright and colorful? Sometimes for Valentine's Day, we see pink donuts, or for holidays, we might see a green donut. Sometimes we do silly things. They're yours, so you can decide what color you want your basic donut. I am going to go with red, and I am literally just coloring right on top of my Model Magic. And then I'm going to smush them together, flatten it out, and I'm going to end up with a pink donut. Maybe it's a strawberry flavored donut. Red and white, when mixed, will make pink. If you were wanting a brown to maybe make it look like a traditional cake donut, a little bit of brown mixed with your white is going to make it very light. The more we add, the darker our color will become. So some of us might do this 3 or 4 times. Others might have to color and smush 8 or 9 times. It just depends on how dark of a color you want. Your hands might get some color on them too. That's okay. We always can clean up at the end of class. And here you can start to see some of my other layers are starting to come through. It's starting to look a little bit pink, so I might be about done. Once I blend it and mix it, if I decide I want more, I can flatten it out and color on top again. So now I'm just going to start to kind of stretch it, twist it, whoops. And kind of knead this around. Start to see a little bit of a tie-dye effect. We want it to be a solid color. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I don't see any white coming through and it becomes a solid mixture. All right, so now it looks like a pretty good pink. I'm happy with this color. I don't think I need to make it any darker. So in order to make a donut shape, I'm going to roll this into a big ball. And then I'm going to kind of start to flatten it out. And I'm shaping it with my hands as I do so. Now donuts have a hole in the middle, so I am literally going to poke in there with my finger and I start to see a donut shape. When I pick it up, there's still not a hole, so I can come in from the bottom and I can start to pinch this and kind of shape it a little bit better. Maybe I want the middle a little bit larger. And here I've got a good donut shape. Now it might not be as big as a donut that you're used to. It might be a little bit smaller, but it's still a good size. This leftover is for adding details. You might want sprinkles, you might want chocolate syrup, You might want frosting. You have to decide. So I think I do want to start with a little bit of frosting. For this, I think I just want my frosting white. Again, if you wanted a color, you can add color to it. So I'm just going to pull some of this off. And I'm going to make a coil, a snake-like piece. I'm kind of just testing to see how big it is. I'm going to pinch those ends together. And then, because our frosting kind of starts to run and drip, I am just going to kind of smush it with my fingers and give it kind of that weird shape right there on my table. And then when I think it looks like a decent thing of frosting for the top of my donut, I can press it in place. Now I love doing this with Model Magic because literally tapping it like this is all I need to do. And now my donut looks like it's got that frosting glaze right over it, oozing and running down the sides a little bit. And then this I'm going to color. I want to make sprinkles. So I'm going to break off some pieces because I want some different colored sprinkles. Maybe I'll do some purple. So just like I did to make my donut color, I'm going to flatten this color on top of it. Maybe do it twice. It's a small amount, so a lot less than I did before to get the color. So as I'm kneading it, it's starting to be there. I think a little darker color right over the top. And I can continue kneading, twisting it, pulling it, working the color in until it is a dark purple like I want, or a light purple, or a medium purple, up to you to decide. So let me get a couple colors. A lot of people like to do stuff with yellow. You need a lot of yellow to get it to look yellow as you color, just because this is a white dough, so you need a lot more. Maybe we'll do green. And so with this, I'm going to do sprinkles. If I wanted to do chocolate syrup or like a chocolate drizzle over it, I could do that as well. I would color with brown. And I'll show you that on my next donut and explain how I did that. All right, so now I've got my colors, and I think that 3 colors is plenty. You want every color of the rainbow? Go for it. So again, I'm rolling out these coils, these long snake-like pieces, and I want them to be really skinny. And then I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to start to snip little bitty pieces. And so these start to become my sprinkles. If I have extra left over, I could share with my table mates. Maybe I decide to add other details to my donuts. Oops. All right, so here are my sprinkles, and I'm just going to start to set them right there on top of my glaze. Spread my colors around a little bit. Kind of rolling them a little bit more, making them look more like an oval. And with that, my first donut is done, or this example of my donut, I should say, is done. Now I'm going to show you another example of a donut and how I made the frosting, and I'll just demonstrate the frosting step for you. All right, So here is another example of a donut. So this one I did brown, like a chocolate drizzle, and then I did my little frosting pieces. So to do this, we're gonna start with a piece of our extra clay, and we want to color this brown. And I really, to get it as dark as it was on my example, I really had to keep coloring and coloring and coloring. So for demonstration purposes, we might not go that dark. We might work a little lighter today. You could also do this with white. Sometimes we do a white chocolate drizzle on desserts. So you could make that drizzle with your white Model Magic. All right, so we are going to work with this brown and be satisfied. So like we did for our sprinkles, we want to roll this out into a coil, a snake-like piece. And then I just set it in place and I started to zigzag it. I can kind of pull it and stretch it as it goes so it gets some of those broken and thinner spots that sometimes happens when we drizzle chocolate over things. And then just like I did before, my little pieces of sprinkles, only this time I want to press them just into the chocolate because they need something to stick to. Sprinkles would not stick on just a plain old cake donut, so you need some type of frosting for them to attach to. And once you have them all in place, then you are done, and we will let them dry so that we can see what they look like finished next week. So either version is up to you. You can do the chocolate drizzle or you can do the glaze with the sprinkles. It is up to you. Yes, mine's on both sides for demonstration purposes. No, you are not doing yours on both sides. You pick one side and you go with one style, either the glaze or the drizzle, and add your sprinkles on. I hope you guys have fun making these.